Now is the time for the practice of yoga. And now, and now, and now. So each and every time we come to the mat or come to our meditation cushion or find a pause throughout our day, it's strengthening our relationship with that pure essence, pure consciousness, that all seeing, all loving, all peaceful presence that is always all around us, all the time, within us, around us. And yet, the game of life, our current predicament of human beings, has us falling for the idea of separation again and again. There's me, and then there's the chair. There's me, and then there's the coffee cup. There's me, and then there's the other. And through our yoga practice, we soften this boundary, not so much as to become the chair, but to recognize that this essence is everywhere all the time. And so when we find within ourselves what might be causing us to say that chair's too hard, maybe then within us there's an attitude or a belief that could be too hard, for example. So, just allowing our practice to reveal to us the different layers and conditionings, not only on our physical body, if we have a repetitive motion, I don't know what this would be, I'd be working in a factory, but some repetitive motion where we have that accumulation, or it's some way that we're seeing or thinking that is causing that groove to be deeply ingrained. Now, some of our grooves we like to have deeply ingrained, right? So, remembering how to brush our teeth every morning, remembering to keep our eye on the prize, right? Our goal, our focus of a one-pointed focus, focusing on love, believing in the best possibilities, expecting miracles. Those are those habits that we've cultivated, we've curated, we want to have. Some of the other habits of the limiting beliefs of it's never happened, it's not really likely. Those are the ones that we want to be able to wash away so that we can allow for, excuse me, infinite possibilities. Hmm. Good. I paused because I know the power of words. And I almost put myself in a predicament of giving up coffee because that's the phlegm from my half and half. So there is a possibility of leaving out coffee in some reality. Okay. All right. So as we land on our mat, we know we're working on many layers. We're working on our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, allowing for our vibration to be one that lets our energy flow. Good. So as we begin, let's start off with a hand to our heart and a hand to our belly. And this finds the container of us, this container of our vessel that is housing the divine, that is housing pure consciousness. And as we tune into this sweet vessel, maybe you have a little warmth in your hands, and there's a response of your heart and of your belly of receiving that warm touch. Maybe the act of that touch brings our attention a little bit more out of our heads and into our bodies. Perhaps as you spend a couple more moments here, you start to feel the movement of the breath within the body. Maybe the rise and fall of the chest, maybe the expansion and contraction of the belly. We're training our awareness. We're strengthening our focus on these tools, on these practices that bring us into this moment, in this present moment, finding the ways to be as calm and peaceful as possible. Because those are the conditions where it's easier for us to remember our true nature. Our true nature is always true and real. And it's just that often the play of the senses and our falling for the idea of separation make it harder for us to remember. Good. Now let's bring our hands together. We'll rub our hands. So this kinesthetic touch, again, is another way, the physical feeling of the hands rubbing together, to bring our energy, our awareness out of the mind, which is constantly entertaining and very imaginative, out of the mind and into the body. Good. And then we'll place our palms over our eye sockets. So taking a moment here with the palms over the eyes, blocking out the light for a moment, shoulders relaxed as possible, full breath in, full breath out, full breath in when you're ready, full breath out. Good. Now, as you remove your palms, use your fingers to first straighten your eyebrows. And then what we'll do is we'll sweep the fingertips very lightly from the forehead towards the temples. So even just this light touch has a very calming effect on the nervous system. A nice light sweeping, and then you might reach your temples and do some circles at your temples. Again, it doesn't have to be a deep tissue massage here. It's just a nice, gentle massage. And then in front of your ears, as you massage in front of your ears, you might open and close your jaw a couple of times. Good. And then a little bit behind your ears. Nice long, slow, deep breaths here. And then we'll give a little massage to our ears. So maybe there's a favorite pet that you can think of as you give your little ears a gentle, loving massage. A little kitty cat or maybe a bunny. Rolling your ears a little bit in and out. And then even a little gentle press right at the flap of the ears, just a light press. Good. And then again, massaging in front and behind. Good. And then let's rub our hands together again. Big inhale, full exhale. And then we're going to plant our hands onto our upper chest, all the way across the space of the upper chest. Deep inhale, full exhale. Deep inhale, full exhale. Good. We'll take one hand to the opposite side of the neck and giving a squeeze and a massage on the opposite side of your neck, just right along the top of the space. Just a little, good morning, body. How you doing today? Can we get a little more blood flow in there? You're carrying the weight of the world on these shoulders. Full breath in. Full breath out. Good. And then when you're ready, the other side, taking your hand to the side of your neck and just starting a little squeeze, a little massage. Deep breaths here. Energy in motion. Good. All right. Very nice. And just shake out through your arms, through your hands. Good. And then we'll find our breath lifting the arms all the way up. So a nice big inhale as you reach up. And then exhale, sweep your arms wide all the way back down by your sides. Now we can add our intention here. Inhaling, receiving prana, fueling us for this brand new beautiful day. And exhaling, extending the love, the compassion, the truth from our hearts all the way out into the space around us. We'll inhale, sweep all the way up. We do all this tending to ourself and to our vibration. And then we extend that out into the space around us. Good. Let's take a lateral here. So let your right arm lift all the way up and then hinging over to the side. Keep your shoulders relaxed here. Anchor into your seat. Let your hips get heavy. Breathe into the side of the rib cage. Good. Let's release this arm down before we take the other side. Letting both hands rest on the earth. Deep inhale. Big clearing exhale. And then your second side. Inhale when you're ready. Left arm floats up. And then hinging over to the side. Again, take your time here. Let the hips stay heavy. That relaxed foundation gives a little more freedom to the upper body. The rib cage, the neck, the shoulder, they all feel supported. So we can let go perhaps even a little more. Good. And then we'll bring ourselves up. Let both arms float down to the earth. Take a big breath at center. Super cleansing exhale. Good. Sweep both arms all the way up high to the sky. Sweep both arms all the way back down by your sides. Good. I believe it was during my Reiki training, my teacher had said that you could also go around and just fluff the aura. So sometimes with this inhale up and exhale back down, I think of it as that a little bit of clearing, cleansing the aura. Another practice that does this or gives us sort of that little added auric shield is chanting Om. So perhaps chanting it in the shower where you have that nice resonance, and then you can build that. You could experiment with doing 9 ohms, just letting that give you that protective field, right? It's just like when we boost our immunity. We're like, here I am. This is my little space. Good. So I'm going to change the audio for a moment and we will Om together. Now with Oming, it's any tone that's right for you. Let's see. Okay, here we go. You can change the tone. You can focus more on the beginning, more on the middle, or even more on the end. So it's AUM. Aum. So let's add it with our arms. Let's inhale, reach all the way up. We'll sweep our arms wide. There's a pause at the end of the Om. And then again, we'll inhale, arms up. And again, and then on your next inhale, once more, let's take the arms up. Good. And then joining palms together in front of our hearts. May our practice open and clear our channels in the ways that we need it most. And may the spacious, light-filled energy that we exude bring blessings to all we encounter. Good. All right. So let's make our way onto hands and knees. As you come to your tabletop position, you can start to move your spine and your cat and cow. So always having the option of a blanket under your knees. Om can be an interesting diagnostic tool. On that third one, I heard my throat do a little extra rattling, and I didn't give credit to the coffee that time. I instead recognized that I had had a fragment of a dream when I woke up, and it was working on that ability and that power to speak my voice without being um, bossy or without being rude or without having to over explain myself. So that sound of Om, it can be imagined or thought of as going through the chakras. Good. So after you've done a few rounds of cat and cow, you can move to child's pose. If you're still working on cat and cow, then continue moving, continue flowing. Good. So just like our mountain pose is a lovely diagnostic tool that lets us check in. We can feel and sense if one leg is stronger than the other, if our weight's on one foot more than the other. Om is also a tool that we can use as, oh, it feels a little congested around my solar plexus. Oh, it feels a little congested at my third eye. And then in these ways, it lets us figure out what tool to use next. It's like when we maybe vacuum and dust the house, we know what to use where. Good. So eventually, as we meet in child's pose, your knees can be together or apart. So here again, letting this be this moment of checking in. Maybe you can feel the space of your ankles and feet from wearing winter boots. Maybe you can feel the space of your thighs or your low back. Perhaps there's more attention in your shoulders today, a little extra shoveling. So we pause, we notice, what are the effects of yesterday? Where's that accumulated tension or tightness from the activities that I got to do yesterday? Good. And then again, this can inform us in our personal practice of, oh, okay, I know a pose for that. It's like in India, everybody's got a guy. I got a guy. I got a driver. I got a cook. I got that. So here you are that. So tuning in. Oh yeah, my low back needs a little TLC. Mm-hmm. Good. We can also use the breath. So maybe the left hip is tighter than the right, and you imagine breathing directly into that hip, letting the breath and the awareness move in, help to release any knots that are tied, a little tight, a little energetic constriction. And with our exhale, we invite that to move, we invite that to release. On your next inhale, let's make our way back up to table and take your right leg back, toes tucked under on the earth. Take a little forward and back here, stretching through your right foot and ankle, stretching your calf a little bit, and then shifting so your shoulders are over your wrist. And go ahead and lift the right foot up off of the earth. Now here we're going to focus on a strong exhale in order to really activate the core to support the back. So exhale, nice strong exhale, good. And then bring your foot to the outside of your right hand. All right, here, a little forward and back or even circling around. We're aiming to stir in the space of that right hip, as well as open the front of the left hip. Good. And then we'll move forward into a lunge. And lift our chin for 3 breaths. So the hips are melting forward. The chin is lifting to stretch the front line of the body. We're appreciative of gravity, but also working to balance. Good. And then after your 3 breaths, we'll shift back. Stretch the right leg long again. Reach it out behind you. A big inhale as you reach. And then bring your knee towards your nose. Try to kiss that knee. Exhale. Good. We'll stretch that leg long again. And then bring your knee back down to the mat. I'm going to have to adjust the camera here. We'll come up onto a tall kneeling position. So in your tall kneeling position, we'll take a moment here, circling out through the wrist, giving a little relief of our wrist. And then a moment in our Wonder Woman arms. So back of the hands, back of the knuckles on our waist so that we're not bending our wrist here. This position lifts up through the rib cage, so you're getting long, slow, deep breaths. Creating some space for our inner campfire so we can digest the events of our lives. Good. And now we'll bring our hands back down to the mat and take the left leg back. So a little stretch here of that left foot, ankles and toe. I guess there's just one ankle, ankle and toes. Stretch the calf a little bit here. Beautiful. And then shoulders over wrist, lifting the left foot up off of the earth, and then take a strong exhale. This will help to bring the belly in. Nice and strong through the core here. And now step that foot to the outside of your left hand. And then here again, it's just an organic movement. You might circle around, moving into the space of that left hip. Shifting forward, opening the front of the right hip. Just a little exploratory movement. Good. And then as you move your hips forward, we'll plant the hands, lift the chin, and we're here for 3 breaths. Good. And then go ahead, you'll shift back, take the left leg long again, reach it out long. And on your exhale, we'll do 1 knee to nose, round in, try to kiss that knee. And then send that leg out long. Lower your knee down, and once again, we'll come up to our tall kneeling position. Circling out through your wrist here. Good. This time we'll bring our hands to our back, our low back. Fingers will point down towards the ground. And then draw your elbows back. Keep your chin level with the earth here. As we're bringing prana, life force energy up, we contain it. This is a little throat lock. So that lock of the throat keeps that prana in our heart, in our chest, in our lungs. Relax your jaw. 3 more full breaths here. Just as much as the low ribs are popping forward, engage your core so that your kidneys have some space here. The upper back is getting a bit of a back bend. Good. And slowly release once again. Circle out through your wrist. And then we'll find our way to downward facing dog. In your downward dog, take a moment to pedal your heels. And then begin to walk hands and feet towards each other. Find your standing forward fold. Good. Inhale, half lift. So the number 7 here. Good. Stay as you exhale, engaging through the core, maybe an open mouth exhale to really activate the core. And then on your next exhale, fold over your legs again. We'll roll to standing now. Take your time as you roll all the way up. Roll your shoulders up, back and down. Good. And bring this a little bit higher and finding your mountain pose. So aligning your feet. Nice and balanced in the weight and the placement. Good. And then bring some strength to your legs. So squeezing the muscles, activating the muscles, lift your kneecaps. And then allow for enough room to slightly drop your tailbone. Not too much. We don't want those thighs to come forward, but just enough that it activates through your low belly to lift up into your heart. Good. And then turn your palms forward, feeling supported here, standing tall and strong, aligned with your vision. Good. Beautiful. Keeping that strength, send attention down into the earth. And from that rooting down, inhale, float your arms all the way up. Good. Exhale, floating your arms back down. Good. Beautiful. So again, you're pressing down into the earth, and then from that rooting down, inhale, let the arms rise up. Beautiful. Exhale, floating the arms back down. Good. We're going to keep that energetic going. And this time, as you float the arms back down, imagine you're like a bird soaring through the sky. So as the arms float down energetically, we're flying, we're soaring. If you've ever flown in your dreams before, maybe it's a bit of that feeling. Although for some reason in mine, I fly by kicking my feet. I must be a mermaid. So I'm rooting down, rising up. So as we inhale, we're pressing down to reach the arms up. And as you exhale, as if you're flying, floating the arms down, questing the heart, flying. Beautiful. Let's do one more like that. So inhale, root down, rise. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. Good. And now we're birds. Exhale. Soaring through the sky. Good. Very nice. Let's bring our hands around behind our back, interlacing the fingers. Let's keep the palms separated here. We have a little bit more room in our shoulders, allowing for the heart to stay lifted. Sometimes, well, we are in the darkest part of the year. It's winter solstice this weekend, so the days will still start getting lighter. Yay, the return of the light. And in the meantime, this week, we're in the darkest dark. So tending to ourselves in those ways where we have the tools to boost our energy. And we also have the wisdom to go to bed early and take naps. Good. We'll take 3 more full breaths here. So this one is increasing the breath around the upper chest, giving us that upward inspiration. Good. Very nice. And release. Roll your shoulders a couple of times. And then finding our Tadasana mountain pose, 3 full breaths. Shoulder blades are gently sliding in towards each other. Core is engaged, so your kidneys have some space. The adage of warm feet, soft belly, cool head. Good. All right. Now, I'm not sure if you have a wall available. We're going to do a shoulder opener here. Maybe I'll use the dresser rather than put my hand on the wall. We're going to take our arms straight out at shoulder height, our hand planted onto the wall. Good. Now you may have done this one with me before, and right away you're sensing, feeling, noticing, oh, there's a lot of sensation in that forearm. Good. So mine's a little bit low. I might need to turn sideways over here. The hand onto the wall already has a lot going on. When we lift our chest even more, you may feel that sensation increase. Good. Now this one feels like a block of ice. So I'm not going to make any other adjustments in my practice today. If this arm and shoulder was starting to thaw, was starting to have a little opening, I might experiment with turning my feet away from the wall. Good. Yeah, beautiful. Yep. Keep the heart lifting. Breathe into the back of the waistline. Sometimes this area gets a little squeezed and compressed. So you want to have that nice and flat. Good. Beautiful. And then if you turn your feet away, go ahead and turn your feet back and lower that arm back down. Let's roll our shoulders. Full breath in. Full breath out. Good. Now it might feel like that arm is longer. Probably is. Release the fascia. Got a lot more circulation in there. And then go ahead and turn and place the other hand onto the wall. Good. So again, first finding the position. We're in mountain pose in our body. Our palm on the wall is giving us that big forearm stretch. Good. And then as the sternum lifts a little bit here, as we lift our heart, we may feel how that brings that shoulder blade a little more onto the back and could add to the stretch in the shoulder. Now we might stay right here or slowly turning our feet a little bit away from the wall. And make sure it's breathable. This definitely increases the sensation. So tending to ourselves in that loving, caring way of, oh, what were we up to yesterday? Writing Christmas cards, shoveling snow. Good. Beautiful. And slowly coming back. We'll lower that arm back down, roll the shoulders here. And then let's test out our wings. Inhale, sweeping the arms all the way up. Exhale, lowering the arms back down. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, back down. Good. Beautiful. We will find our warrior one stance. So bring your right foot back and bend into your left knee. First, feeling, sensing the stretch of the right calf. And then hands to our hips, aiming our hips pointing in the same direction as the left knee. And then really strengthen through that right leg. Have it straight and strong, anchored into the earth. Keep your left hand on your left hip and inhale your right arm all the way up. Good. Exhale as that shoulder relaxes. Keep reaching up, up, up through the right arm. Anchor back through the right heel. Good. And lowering that arm back down. Let's take both arms up on the next inhale. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, shoulders relax back and down. Good. Bringing our hands to our heart. And then our hands to our hips, and we'll step forward. Good. A couple of breaths here. This pose helps to build our confidence, our strength, allows for rootedness and openness. Energetically, when we kept our hand onto that front hip at first, It helped us to stay aware of our foundation so that we could reach. And then when we took both arms up, we had that solid foundation. So all of these are tools and practices of tending to ourselves and being mindful energy managers. Left foot back. Warrior one on this side. Starting off with the hands on the hips so we can really feel, sense what's happening in our legs. Good. Hands on the hips, also direct our hips pointing forward. And then we can take the time to strengthen that left leg. So squeezing the muscles, kneecap is lifted. Here we'll keep the right hand on the hip so we're anchoring our foundation here, and left arm reaches up. Good. And then the same way as we did before of rooting down to rise up, press into the left heel to reach through those left fingers. So you have that movement in both directions from your center. Rooting down and reaching, rooting down and reaching, staying centered, staying fortified, staying balanced. Good. Lowering the left arm back down. And now we'll take both up with a big inhale, reaching up. Staying here as you exhale, shoulders are relaxing down. You are abiding either in the space of your solar plexus or your heart. You're rooting in, connecting to the earth, while also reaching up, maintaining your connection to your true self, your higher self, pure consciousness, your own innate divinity. Good. Take your time, hands to heart center, full breath in, full breath out, and then hands to hips, and we'll step our feet together. Take a moment in mountain pose to pause, breathe, and feel. As we work these energies that go in opposite directions, it balances and activates in the Samana Vayu, that space at our solar plexus. So a little celebration of the increasing of the light. And then as we're working these energies, it can stir things up. So we'll compost it out in our favorite chair pose. Arms come out in front with a big inhale. Exhale, sitting back into chair. Now, if you would like, you can always take your arms up, biceps by your ears. Sitting back into chair. That strong exhale will fortify the core, moving in, keeping space in your low back. Good. I let go of what I'm ready to let go of, allowing spaciousness in the present moment. Grateful for what has come before and letting go of what I don't need to carry with me. Let's inhale, stand up, reach up, look up, and exhale your arms down by your sides. Good, roll your shoulders, full breath in. Full breath out. Full breath in. Full breath out. Beautiful. All right, we are on our way to Malasana, or a yogi squat. So for this one, I'll show a couple options. Some bodies can take the feet wide and come right down into a yogi squat. If your knees, hips, or ankles are not a fan of that, you can place the block under your seat, maybe even on the tall height if you can balance, and get a squat here. So we work into the space of our hips. If you're in a higher squat, you might place your hands or your arms to the inside of your knees, pressing open. Another variation with this Malasana is to put a folded blanket under the heels. Good. Wherever you're at in this pose, let's find 3 more full breaths. Good. Now you might transition out through a standing forward fold. So fingers to the earth, straightening your legs. Heel toe your feet in to parallel and forward fold. Good. We're on our way down to our seat again. So you could walk to downward dog, taking a moment here in your inversion, and then lowering your knees to the mat and coming around onto your seat. We'll bring the bottom of our feet together. You could hold your feet or your ankles, and just a little bouncing of the knees here, activating some energy into our hips again, lifting up out of the low back. Full breath in, full breath out. Good. We'll keep that left leg in, take our right leg out. And you might shift around a little bit here to bring the left foot to the inside of your right knee. Turn a little so you can see what's happening here. You could also take a prop and place it under the outside of your left knee if it's up in the air. Good. Beautiful. From here, with an inhale, we can reach the arms up. And as we exhale, begin to lean forward, reaching for the right foot, and then letting your hands come down. Maybe you hold the foot, or maybe your hands come to the floor, either side of your right leg. Now we're here for 6 more exhales. Keep your hips nice and heavy, anchoring back and down. And as your hips anchor back and down, then from that anchor, we can breathe along the spine, reaching our heart, our chest out over that right leg. Good. Coming all the way back up. Inhale. Extend out through both legs. You might shake out through your knees. And then we'll set up our second side. So the right leg bends in, dropping our knee open to the side. Here again, you might shift this hip a little farther back, getting the knee closer to the ground, or put a prop under the outside of your right leg. With an inhale, reaching up, that upward movement of energy. And as we exhale, we'll start to lean forward, bringing our hands either to the foot or to the earth. And then before we try to go too far, we want to plug back in. So plugging back into source, plugging back into support, so plugging back into our foundation. So the hips are heavy, we're anchored back and down. And then from that, we feel something to stretch from rather than unanchoring ourselves. Good. And then the gaze down towards the left leg, counting your 6 exhales. When you're ready, on an inhale, coming all the way back up. And exhale, extending out through both legs. Optional to conclude practice today with legs up the wall. And our legs up the chair pose is a wonderful variation, which is nice for the low back. If the back of your legs have been feeling a little tight from winter or from walking on slippery surfaces, legs up a wall or up the door aids in opening the back of the legs a little bit more. Now, we don't have to have our seat all the way to the wall. No, if we're doing a wall, you want to sit as close as possible. And as you lower down, you'll sweep your legs around and up the wall. Now, in this variation, there's that release of any fluid retention, tightness, tiredness from the legs. Again, both variations, either up the wall or up a chair, help to release through the low back, giving us a nice sense of ease through the low back and legs. It's also a quieting posture for the nervous system. It's a tool that we can use to tend to ourselves. Having the various yoga poses and yoga techniques is wonderful. And then sometimes we just need to leave ourselves a post-it note to remember to do them. So in those times where we're feeling a little antsy, say, okay, I have to stop and take my yoga vitamin. All right, so closing with the reading from the Book of Awakening for today. Fully knowing the road. If you come to a fork in the road, take it. Yogi Berra. Like the cones of Zen monks and the wit of Shakespeare's jesters, we may never know if the sayings of this baseball legend are utter nonsense or utter wisdom. But the longer we stay with them, the more they reveal. What this one says is not to stand or not to stall too long at the crossroads of life, not to hesitate our way out of living. We can't experience everything, and taking one road will always preclude another. But agonizing over which to take can eventually prevent us from knowing any road. Even when taking one road, keeping the other alive in our mind for too long is the beginning of regret. In fact, giving over to regret is a way to resist our limitations, a way to still take the other road with us. It's the heart's way to be stubborn. Ultimately, keeping the other road so actively with us only keeps us from fully knowing the road we have chosen. We are beautifully limited creatures, capable of great moments of full living. But we can't have it all or experience it all. We can only paradoxically experience all there is by giving ourselves completely and humbly to the small path we are drawn to. As we close our practice here, I'd invite you to take maybe 10 more breaths in the pose. And whenever you do feel ready, you'll eventually transition out and move into the rest of your day. It is such an honor to be on this path with each of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your practice. May peace be with you. Namaste.